Bitcoin hoodie guy coming back with another Caspa video. This is not clickbait. We're going to be talking about the possibility of $16 Caspa. I'm not saying that's going to happen. Overall, I'm still kind of that $2 to $3 range, but we're going to look at some numbers here. Before we get into it, could you Mike Tyson the like and subscribe button? Hash rate's looking good. You might have saw, you probably, unless you've been living under a rock, that Michael Saylor tweeted this about 6 hours before Marathon Digital tweeted their post. So about it's like 6 hours before Michael Saylor tweeted the Bitcoin Apple, but with the Caspa color scheme. So before Marathon Digital announced that they've been mining Caspa, mined 100 million of them. But today we're going to be looking at market dominance. You can see that ETH is like 18.5. Obviously, at the lowest, it was around, in the history, it was around 7%, highest 24%. BNB, it's sitting around almost 4%, and it got up to about 6% in 2022. At the peak of the bull market last time, it was around 4%. So, and Binance here's an article. I've shared it before, but it's super centralized. This time you need a 10,000 BNB, which now is BNB's up. So that's going to even be more expensive. So it's millions of dollars to run a validator. And this time there's only like 27 or 30 validators. So it's super centralized. But it's interesting to crunch these numbers, look at some snapshots and market dominances like Doge. Obviously, it ran up before Musk got on SNL, got up to 2.5%. It's currently under 1%. At the peak of last market, November 2020, it was 1%. So here's a sheet. So right here in this column right here is like the potential Caspa market dominance. Right here is if the total market cap for crypto is 6 trillion, this is total market cap of 10 trillion. So if Caspa got up to 0.5% of market dominance with a $6 trillion market cap, it'd be $30 billion, which would be $1.20, roughly, just using 25 billion circulating supply to make the math easy. And so I think this is an interesting thought exercise. We don't know the future, how these KRC20 tokens are going to hit, the news from Marathon, but when you look at it, I think this is an interesting exercise to figure out, like, okay, there's a huge difference between a 6 trillion total market cap and a 10 trillion. One, I would say Bitcoin gets up to 120,000 or something. The other one, Bitcoin gets up to 200,000. That's a huge difference. But it also lets you realize, okay, what's possible. So the $16 would be that the overall total market cap's up to 10 trillion, and Caspa has a 4% market dominance, would be $400 billion market cap, which would be $16. Now, I know a lot of people think the $5 to $10 range. Now, if they got up to if it gets up to 10 trillion, then it doesn't even have to get up to 4%. It could be between 2 and 3% right there. Like 2.5% would get it to $10. That'd get it up to around the $250 billion market cap. So I think this chart is an interesting way. It's just numbers on the screen, but it gives you an idea of what, I think it's realistic to think that the overall market cap for crypto ends up somewhere between 6 and 10 trillion. Doge shows that there's a good chance that Caspa peaks in market dominance at a different time than Bitcoin does, but it still gives you show you what's potentially possible. And so might say if I'm sticking to my $2 or $3 range, then that means Caspa gets up to 1% market dominance. Now, so when you come back here and look at Dogecoin, this is a historical snapshot roughly around when Bitcoin peaked last time in November of 2021. So Dogecoin and Shiba Inu are there. And so when you look at Dogecoin at that time, it was about 1%. And so Shiba Inu was a little bit, Shiba Inu was behind it for $5 billion. But so roughly to say 1%. So that got it into the top 10. So when you look at this and say, okay, I think Caspa is going to get into the top 10. And I think that the overall market cap is going to be 6, 7, 8, 10 trillion, whatever you think it's going to be, then that would put it, say you think, I think it's 6 trillion. I think Bitcoin's not going to get to 200,000. And I think Caspa is going to get the 1% market dominance, get to the top 10. I guess, and so I think it's an interesting way to look at it. Do you think Caspa really has that much potential? I want more Caspa. I believe we'll get lucky and see a $6 or $7 trillion market cap. I don't think anywhere near 10 trillion. So I don't think Caspa is going to hit $16. I was just throwing that out there. Some people might think that it's getting up to 4%. 4% would be kind of like Binance-ish. So Caspa would have to be kind of where Binance is on the chart, because Binance has 3.8%, and it would have to get up to 10 trillion. So if we're only 6 to 7 trillion, then $16 is not even possible with the 4% market dominance. Let's see if I have the market dominance set up here. Yeah, the dominance right now, you're basically, to get in the top 10, you're really, I guess, about, once you get up to Dogecoin, you're about 0.8%. So 1% gets you into the top 10. If they'd be ahead of Toncoin if Caspa had a 1% market dominance. So I don't personally think it's going to get to $16. I like the $2 to $3 range. And I think that if things go really well, maybe that $5 range, which would put it deep into, if it only got up to $6 or $7 trillion, the $5 would put it at like 2% market dominance. So I think that's pretty realistic. To me, this is kind of the realistic, where I would see a realistic area is this 240 to $5 range. And who knows if that's going to happen. Top 10 easy money. So 1%, it basically need 1% will get it, should get it. When you look at the market dominance now, what 1% would do, 1%, I mean, you got to take out the stable coins. So actually, what do you got? Like 2 stable coins in there. So really the top 10, excluding stable coins, then you're going down to 12, or 12. So Tron. So I guess 0.5% would really technically get it into the top 10 right now. But those percentages will probably, these altcoins will probably go up, because Bitcoin will probably shave that 53% down when you look at the Bitcoin's historical dominance is usually changing when there's the Bitcoin dominance. So when you look at Bitcoin's dominance, when it's in 2021 there, Bitcoin was, in November, it was like 42%. So it'll all look different. There's, what the market dominances are now, but this is a good guide to maybe kind of come up with some realistic price, something kind of realistic. This range right here, I've seen people throw out $10. So if it only got up to $6 trillion market cap, then you're going to need 4% market dominance, which, I mean, BNB, I've used that and used it more last time. I don't have any BNB, but it's super centralized. It's just connected to the largest exchange. So let me know what you think in the comments. What market dominance you think we can get into? It feels like we should at least get up to 0.5% to 1%. And then you just got to figure out a realistic market cap, where you think it could go. Marathon Digital, KRC20s. I'm not exactly sure how those stable coins are going to work with the partially signed Caspa transactions of the KRC20. Whether, I don't know, Christian Ludwig thinks that 70 to 100% of the stablecoin volume is going to get migrate to Caspa. And I'm not even sure that's possible, but I don't know how that's going to shake out. But I think kind of crunching these kind of numbers realistically, I did put $16 in there just because that was the highest number on this chart. I don't think that's possible personally, but someone might. I don't know. For that, basically, it would take everything going right for Caspa that possibly could, and the crypto market. It would take the crypto market exceeding expectations and getting up to 10 trillion, or hitting the high end of expectations. Bitcoin hits 200,000, maybe a little bit over, and it would take Caspa basically rocking it up and maybe being number 3 at that point. The 4% dominance, but ADA did get up there for a little while. When you look at the ADA market dominance, um, the ADA market dominance. It did get up to 4%, I think, off of smart contract news. So, but at that time, too, the market cap of the crypto market cap, it wasn't quite peaked out. When you go here and look at ADA did get up to 4.2%. So Caspa getting up to 4% is not the craziest thing in the world. So yeah, we don't really know what's going to happen. I do like to crunch these numbers just because it's fun to make spreadsheets and kind of look at potential market caps, potential market dominance, potential prices. And, this whole landscape changes. Marathon Digital came out with their news, and then that changes um, the whole landscape. And those type of things are going to keep changing the landscape. So you always have new set of information. We'll see how the KRC20. Um, I think it could get to 3 to 5 depending on the sell wall pressure of whales. That's a good point. That would kind of potentially put us kind of right here in the 1 to 2% market dominance at a $6 trillion market cap, or 0.5% to 1% at a $10 trillion market cap. So it's going to be interesting to see how this shakes out. Yeah, basically, let me know what you think. Personally, I don't think 16. I think maybe mathematically this $400 billion market cap is probably somewhere mathematically possible, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think we end up more in the 70 to $120 billion range. Um, and so that's kind of where I think it'll land. But I hope I'm wrong, and I hope it exceeds my expectations. But that's and that's a long ways from now. And like the last person said, there's going to be, some sell pressure from whales and anyone that bought right now. And so if you bought at 3 cents, 1 penny, 10 cents, and I know there's some people that plan on not even selling this cycle. I mentioned that I want to pay my house off, and I know. So if you think that your investment's going to outpace your interest rate, then technically that's not a great investment. But for me, I'm looking to just pay my house off because that peace of mind and keep the wife happy. So, yep. Basically, I think we're going to end up in this range. And I think that we could go over the $6 trillion market cap. So I think that we'll end up in this kind of potentially 1 to 2% range with a 250 to $5, or we kind of end up in the kind of just under 1% market dominance, kind of here in that, in a larger market cap. So we'll see how it shakes out. A lot of exciting news. Caspa's only competition is Solana with a huge VC backing and possible ETFs. The problem is that it doesn't seem that big fiat cares about decentralization. Maybe they prefer it. 10 trillion LB crypto is chiming in saying that he believes, or they believe, 10 trillion market cap and Caspa will be around 10%. So 10 trillion at 2% would be about an $8 Caspa. I think that fits you kind of into a lot of people's range of possibility. So I could see that. I don't really see it going over $10, but I don't know. Right now, my gut and feeling, which is nothing to go by, says like $2 to $3, which that would actually, at a $10 trillion market cap, would actually just put us under this 1%. I do think it's going to maybe get over 1%. And that's a good point. Do people really care about decentralization? I know a lot of people in like Bitcoin and some other more decentralized projects, but yeah, Solana's not centralized. BNB is not centralized. Yeah, this article right here, is talking about how, like in Ethereum, you only need 32 Ethereum to run a validator. Here, at the time of this article, BNB, I think it was $270. What's BNB now? Isn't it like $300 or something? I don't really pay much attention to BNB. It was $600. So now it'd be $6 million. So I haven't even paid attention to BNB. So it'd take about $6 million to run a BNB validator. And at the time of this article, there's only 30 of them. So, and like right here, this is from a couple years ago in October of 2022. Due to irregular activity, we're temporarily pausing Binance Smart Chain. We apologize for the inconvenience. That was an old tweet right here. Oh, looks like they deleted it, I guess. Oh, no, here it is. Due to irregular activity, we are temporarily pausing Binance Smart Chain. So I think Binance Smart Chain just has a lot of crap on it and it's super centralized, but It's connected to the largest exchange, so we don't know exactly how this is going to shake out. But circling back around, um, personally, I don't think 16 is going to happen, and seems like most people are kind of in that $2 to $3 range, or the kind of the $5 to $10 range, which is a big range, especially when you're looking at something that is 18 cents. So I don't know. There's a lot of exciting catalysts. We don't even have any big tier one exchange listings yet. And so I don't know. Hopefully, something like this maybe helps you kind of get an idea of the possible Caspa market dominance, potential market cap, potential price, so you can kind of think about a possible exit strategy if you're looking to exit somewhere near the top of the market next year. So that's all I got. It's exciting times with all the news, and the KRC 20 is coming on the 30th. So stay bullish. Thanks for watching and have a good day.